Everybody, it's me, Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 Hertz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally and further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant-based diet going for yourself today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and get with alkalinity. Then you can generate some static electricity. Send me some love telepathically. Set attention to your mind and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to great days. So today, I'm gonna go in on bliss, right? And no bouts in bliss, right? So I'm going to go into what I mean by this. And let's just see exactly how I can put this. Okay, so no bouts in bliss. No bouts in bliss, what I'm talking about is there's bliss, right? You're blissful. There's bliss. You can realize bliss. And when you are in bliss, when you experience bliss, which is a beautiful word, there's no bouts. So if you're in bliss, you're experiencing bliss, and somebody comes to you and asks you, what are you blissful about? There's no bout to it. There's no answer, because that's a struggle in itself, right? More so, there's just bliss, right? It's a crease-free canvas for you to be able to paint or illustrate, right? So there's no bouting in it. There's no about. What are you blissful about? There's no answer to it, because it's the silence that brings the bliss. Because it brings the flow of energy, and that's the blissfulness, right? So the bliss is realized. It can be realized. You can act as though there's miserable vibrations or there's misery, but there's not. That's just kind of like a persona thing, right? But the persona is minute, and it thrives off of various different feebleness, or it thrives off of conflict and its own various different fears, right? So the bliss is realized. It can be realized very easily if you just be, right? Don't conflict yourself into anything. Don't struggle into anything, right? You just let it go, and there's bliss that remains, because the bliss is always there. It's like a sourcing, or it's towards the core. Once you start going towards the core, the heart, you're going to end up realizing bliss, because you're getting closer to what is and what is not, right? What is not is misery, or even beyond that, nothing, right? What is bliss. So there's no bouts in bliss. I'm not blissful about anything, just blissful, right? So there's no about. So there's no question, and there's no answer. There's no cycle. It's just bliss, right? A radiation, a warmth, a blissfulness, Everybody has this. Everybody can experience this, touch upon it, unless you're conflicting yourself out of it, unless you don't want to see it, or unless you don't want to experience it. Then you gotta act, you gotta effort, struggle yourself out of it. But that struggle is a swim against the river until you get worn out. Then you're floating in the river again, you're back in bliss. So the whole struggle is an illusion. There is no struggle because you're swimming against the river. You're still floating in the river. You're just deluding yourself into some struggle because you like the exercising, or the exercise of the elusive, right? So there's no bout. People are asking you, if people are asking you why you're blissful, there's no answer to it. There's no bout. There's no question either. Because all is oneself, right? You're just talking to yourself. You're blissed out, right? And it can go deeper and deeper. You can touch upon it, realize it, come in and out of it, struggle, remain in it, liberation, and you can go deeper and deeper into it, which is what you want to do. You want to go as deep as you can into that, because that's where life is. You're getting closer to the source, or the core, the source of life, where you're going to find bliss. All is unconditional, right? Which also supports no bout. When there's unconditional, when all is unconditional, then there's no reason, right? There's no bout. So there's just bliss that's left. And you go deeper and deeper into this until you have the experience of enlightenment, or a mystical experience, or whatever is going to bring you to that state that you want to experience, right? You definitely feel it off of people too. People who have experientially realized the bliss. People who are struggling out of the bliss. And people who have never left it, right? You could definitely see the difference through the auric field, or just by the radiation that's coming off of them. But there's no bout in bliss. It's that simple. There's no, what are you blissful about? It's just blissfulness, right? There's nothing to be blissful about, because bliss is of the core. It's just like a soundless sound type of thing, or struckless sound, right? A sound that is just without having any originating reverberation, or a strike. Like you strike a cymbal to a drum, or you strike a drum and there's a sound. Bliss is within that sound, where there was never a struck of an instrument. So a sound without the beat of a drum, or a sound without the hit of a drum, is what bliss is within, or is what bliss is of, right? So there's no bouting, there's no strike, there's no hit of the drum. It's just blissfulness, right? And you can easily realize that state of bliss as you start to look deeper within yourself, and you move more into the heart space, the core, the corazon, the core, ason, the center. This is where God is. The center is where you are going to have the experience of God. The transcendental experience happens deep in the heart. Brain and heart coherence. The moment that you come to intertwine them with absolute balance, absolute centeredness, then you can go deeper and deeper dimensionally and have deeper transcendental experiences. But you need that balance. You need the center, which is the core. Right? The core is where all the is where the source of life is. The heart. So that's where bliss is. You can question and you can answer and you can cycle, but you don't necessarily need to because it's something that happens of itself. So there's no bout in bliss. What are you blissful about? There's no answer to it, just bliss. You can go on in a poetry for the other side, or you can go on in a poetry for yourself to irradiate the bliss or translate the bliss with the language. But beyond that and underlying that, it's just bliss. There's no bout to it, right? So that's gonna be it for today's video. I do thank everybody for watching. Once again, peace out, one love, and have a great evening.